Who is Commissar Bender Bending Rodriguez? Well, he is a commissar for the Imperium that wants to kill all human heretics. I'm Ekov. I hope you're ready. I've been loving painting this army. So we've been working, well, we have just finished Lord Brannigan, ready to lead his troops into impossible deadly suicides. We got the Planet Express battle tank almost completed, and now we have to kill all human heretics. Without further ado, let's begin. So, how we're going to paint him is we're going to have a dark red cloth, and then the chest armor and the chest back will be a brighter red, and then the pauldron, since Commissar Bender Bending Rodriguez, he will have officer details. The pauldrons will be gold, and we might add a little bit of gold on top. So I made sure he has a very shiny head because we can't see his very shiny rear. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with corn red. All right. And we're going to start off with a number 1. Add it to our palette. And a little bit of water. And we are just going to kind of, not haphazardly, but we're going to do 1 or 2 coats. Just making sure we get a thin, even coat, so we can at least see where we need to work on. Okay. Don't have to get it completely covered. But as long as we kind of make sure we get most of it into the creases, I'm going to add a little bit more water to my palette. There we are. Much better. Okay. Cover this up. Try to make it fairly even. Not pull too much. All right. Now I know it doesn't look that good right now, but you got to, since we are starting from black, you don't want to have it too thick. So you can always add a second or even third coat if you need to. Just got to make sure it's nice and even. Oops. Tilted him a little bit on his little metal rod stand. So the reason why I have him on this stand is so that I can easily or easier get to his underneath. So you don't just go, oh well. and leave it. All right. Okay. And of course, the dog across the street is barking up a storm. It always happens. It always happens. Never fails, right? Okay. Just want to make sure we get in these little crevices. I'm not going to have to worry too much about going over the edge because we will be going with a different paint color. Well, a different shade of red, but it's not nearly critical that we are having to worry. Now, we're going to want to have the gloves be a white though. So, okay. Trying to get into all those creases. And underneath this section, it's a little bit more cloth. And then right here as well. Next, after this, we're going to do our second coat of corn red. And that should hopefully even out his pant legs. Now, oh, we did forget to do these scarves. So I guess we can sort that out right now. just get, you gotta water it down a little bit so that you can get into those tassels. That's quite all right. Okay. Working on the top section now. Okay. Underneath his chest plate. Get into those little nooks and crannies. Now onto this back section. All right, now we're just going to kind of go over any spots that we think need to be just touched up just a little bit. Just realized this little section right here can also be painted red. All right. Now, what we're going to do. So, oops, I just threw my brush all the way underneath. Okay. We're using Gal Vorbach Red underneath so that we can kind of create a little darker of a shadow. So. And we're not going to try too hard on this. just want to kind of get it just so that there is a hint of red. Yeah. There we go. Just enough so that we can say, hey, we did our part. Okay, now it's time for this red section. And for that, you're going to be using Memphis Red. Okay. 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 And slowly just kind of working my way into these crevices. I'm using Brannigan as a reference, and that was actually gold. So I believe we got everything covered. We just got to do a second coat. I guess I could do this section. Okay. Now we're ready to add a wash so that we can kind of highlight everything, or I guess anti-highlight, get into those recesses. And for that, we're going to be using Flesh Terror contrast, but we're going to be watering it down. So it's pretty much a wash. So just a little tab. You don't need it to be super strong. So if you don't have flesh tears, you can also use voluptuous pink. But also make sure to water that down as well, because that's still a pretty strong contrast. Alright, so I think I got it watered down fairly well. We don't want it to pool too much. I really just want to think, I want it to pool where the shadows are. So in the creases of the folds of the fabric, underneath like these types of areas. But we're going to basically bring this down to about as dark as we want it, and then the rest of the time of painting, we're going to be lighting it up and bringing it with a bit more brightness. Okay. We're going to do this over all the reds. Because since we started with different brightnesses of red, we will still have a difference of color once this has dried. Since we've thinned it down, it shouldn't change it too much. Just enough. To give her that saturation that we want. Okay. There we go. I'm also going to get on the insides as well. Okay. So I think that looks fairly decent starting off. Now, as we wait for that to dry, we're going to try to do work around the red. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some lead belcher, and we're going to cover both the sword and the plasma gun. Okay. 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 So while that dries, because we're going to have to do another second coat on everything. Underneath the gun. And I am trying to avoid the hands as much as I can. Just so I will have to do less coats of white. do have to add a little bit more lead belcher to my palette. Okay, let's get this brace. Oh, the pistol grip. And this little loop right here. Alright, we are going to add a little bit of this silver to his little power doohickey on his arm. Okay. All right. Just kind of pushing the paint so that it is all uniform. There we are. Okay. That turned out fairly well. Now, what we're going to do is I actually kind of forgot to do his collar corn red, so we're going to fix that. Now I am being somewhat careful. Okay. No, we're just going to kind of work a little bit on the inside of the collar. Just so that when we apply the head, there is a little bit of red that will show through. It's not just going to be black. It looks like we didn't paint it. Okay. Looks pretty good to me. All right, so we are going to now start adding some of the gold, and we'll be using Retributor armor. So really the only thing that's gold on this model that won't be trim are these pauldrons and the guard of his sword. The rest of the gold will be trim work, so next onto the alder pauldron. Okay. Now we're just kind of going over with the second coat, even it out. So I do think we gotta go over this a third time though. let's go over the other pauldron. Make sure we have the same coverage. Alright, so there is other parts that I will be painting gold, but they're kind of over red sections that I want to highlight, and just to make it a little bit easier, if I make a mistake on a section that's just going to be painted over gold, let's wait until it's ready to be painted over with gold. Oh, I do need to do, actually we'll do that one later as well. I just kind of wanted to have that third color on there, make it look a little bit more presentable. Okay, so next we're going to be working on kind of lighting this up a lot. So let me just kind of make sure I get these all sorted out. So for the cloth, we use corn red as the base. Next, we are going to use Wasdaka red, and then I believe scarlet red. Yeah. So that will be for the cloth. So let's get that Wasdaka red. And how we're going to do this is we're basically going to start with sections that we know are going to have that brightness, and we're going to just kind of fill it out. And you kind of want to think, how is the light going to catch this? And since this is the first step, there is a bit of forgiveness. We are going to... Yay! Commissar painting! Yes, yes! It was like... It was so even. I'm like, okay, the first person that commented basically wins. Because I was like, okay. There was a whole bunch of... yeah, because there was like 7 comments, and I'm like... they're all basically voting even, and I'm like, how do I decide this? So I just went with the quickest, the one that responded the first, pretty much. But yeah, so we are working on Commissar Bending Rodriguez that wants to kill all heretics. So we are Slowly filling out our highlights. And I think I've been doing a pretty good job at staying in the camera. So having a smaller model to work on definitely does help. But how are you doing, Lavender? It's been a while since I've live streamed, so hope you're doing well. Just going to kind of go over these raised edges. Weather's been lovely, mate. Perfect for getting out and skating. Hey, fantastic. Weather's been is still a bit too cold, but I would like to get out and go camping. Hopefully once it starts warming up. Once all the weather is kind of like shaking off all the cold and the frost, and it's good to kind of escape, you know. But I have not I have not skated in so long. And I think the last thing that I skated on was a ripstick. And I think the most I was able to do was like an ollie. But that was back when I had knees that didn't pop. I got into a LGS. There's plenty there painting. One of them is doing orcs, and I love it. We talk like greenskins when talking with them. Yes, it's a good crumpin' time. So I do have an orc army I've been needing to paint up, but it's just like, hey, I kind of go off of like, I like doing the polls because it's like, hey, if nobody wants to watch these, then there's kind of really no point in streaming it. So, and I am kind of excited for Barris Cole because I love this hyper bright starting primer. Just that's going to be really, really fun for me. Okay. Let me just kind of clean off this brush a bit. All right. And Just kind of trying to get just a little bit sorted out. But it does feel good to live stream paint again. I just haven't had any time that I could set out, unless if it was like 9 o'clock at night. And that wasn't going to happen. Okay. So now that we got that, we're going to do Evil Sun Scarlet. I've skated for years, and I can still only ollie. It doesn't stop me from having fun, though. Yep. So, I will see you later. Thank you for popping in. Really do appreciate it. Okay, so... let's get Evil Sun Scarlet. And now we're just going to kind of, first I need to get a little bit more paint on my brush. Now, let's work on Okay. So I think that is pretty good on cloth. Okay, so got a pretty red cloth. Now it's time for the the breastplates. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back over with Mephiston red, and then Wild Rider red with a little bit of Troll Slayer orange, and that will bring out the brighter versions of the red. Okay. And really just kind of painting over where we know the light is going to hit. And reflect. Okay. And we're just trying to think, where is the sun going to catch the most light on this armor? Okay. Okay. Yo, hey, what's up, Mario? How you doing? Okay. Next, Wild Rider red. and we are going to switch to a 0. We are really starting to get to those fine details. Same old, working and more working. You know what? It's pretty much the same. So, been going to be basically doing a different type of job at the work I'm at, my engineering job, and that's pretty exciting. And then I also took up an editing job with a buddy so that he doesn't have to worry so much. So I basically edit his videos on YouTube, and he does Apex, and I gotta be honest, he actually does get more views than me, and I'm a little jealous, not gonna lie, a little envious. Like, I want to, like, it just makes me want to up my game a little bit more. So, but doing that, and I did try doing a battle report, and that did not go very well. Like, it was still a fun game, but trying to do it off of just one camera was not a fun experience. It was, I mean, at least the guy that did play the game was pretty understanding. It was pretty cool. Glad to hear that, but your loyal subscribers won't leave you. I hope so. I hope that I can kind of get them to come back a little bit more often. So I am going to try a little bit different stuff. I really just kind of trying to get it so that I can get that second camera, because that would really help. But prices are stupid. Gotta test the waters. Yeah, exactly. I feel like once I get that second camera and I can do those recordings a little bit easier, then I'll be able to pump out actual videos. So saving up for that. Other than that, nothing too crazy. So, another personal exciting news. So I found out what the gender of the second baby is, and the wife wanted to keep it a secret, and she wanted me to plan the gender reveal party. And what I'm going to do is I bought a model rocket and painted it, and when it goes up, the parachute will launch, and the color of the parachute will be the sex. And I am super excited for that. That's going to be really, really fun. Okay, so now that we got that bright red, we are going to now go to Troll Slayer Orange. And this is going to be like the absolute most finest spots. Okay. So, that looks pretty good. It's not the absolute most. Like, it didn't really kind of pop as much as I wanted to. So I think maybe what I'll do Let's try to sneak in a little bit of a... So you don't know what it would be? No, I do know what it is. So basically the tech wrote it down on a piece of paper, gave it to and gave it to me. So so only I know. Only I and the tech knows. Yes. No, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna hide it. She might, and I'm not gonna spill the beans, here, because the wife sometimes peeks and watches me paint. I don't want to ruin the surprise for her. But I will be, we'll be doing like the rocket launch this weekend, so it will be revealed. I'll be able to openly talk about it freely. Trust me, I've been wanting to do nothing but reveal it. Yeah, fair enough. I know. Don't worry. It will be revealed soon enough. Alright, so I'm going to kind of now try to go over this red again. And just to kind of bring that brightness out. Because I should have started with a little bit of a brighter red. Okay. You hosting a Super Bowl party, I'm assuming? No, I'm really not a big Super Bowl football fan, really. And so I mean, I've just been way too busy to like really do any sports, so I'm just like I'm just not going to worry much about it. I know, shocking. Ecov is boring and doesn't want to do anything. Like, you mean the nerd, the geek doesn't want to do anything physical? Shocker. Alright. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Oh, well, I mean, the thing is, though, is like I was being prepped for the Marines, so I think that's a little different. So, or at least now I'm not very, not very athletic. All right, so I think now I am actually ready to apply the trim work gold. Um, yeah, actually, what I think might be fun is do a gray boots. So kind of make Commissar Bender look like he has metal feet. Want to make sure we stay in as much character as we can, right? The reason why is because since I'm going to do the trim work, gotta try to not go over as many times as I want, you know? Okay. There we go. And now I'm going to want to add a kind of a shade to it. I think maybe we will do Basilium Gray. That would be good. Just gotta shake it up a little bit. And we're not going to thin it down, but we're going to make sure we apply a very, very thin coat. Shake it up fairly well. All right. Almost done, and then we can start the trim work. All right. Oh, we should probably do this metal bit right here, though. So. And just trying to get into that little crevice. All right. And I think we'll just kind of hold off on that. Let's see, is there any spots? So since I am working with lead battery, might as well patch up anything that I missed. Excellent. Now, oops, just realized that was supposed to be red. I always miss like those tiny little spots. Now we can finally do the gold. Okay, so let's just start with the back. And we are going to just kind of very carefully go over this trim. Okay. And let's give these as gold tassels. I think that will look a lot better. Next, we're going to be working on these Aquillas. Right. Well, good to hear from you again. Got to go to sleep early for work tomorrow. Have a good night, man. And let me know what it is. Hey, yes, of course, of course. Trust me, I cannot wait to spew it out from the rafters. Okay. Now, we are going to add the gold trim on this. Sorry if I'm not talking so much. It's just I am just focusing super hard not to accidentally bleed over this gold trim, so I am looking at chat though, so okay. Okay. A very good trim. Very good. Now, let's go over to the head. And we'll give Bender a little bit of gold on top. Okay. If you've made it this far and you've been enjoying it so far, remember to hit a like or subscribe. Really does help small channels like myself get pushed out of the algorithm. But also helps motivate me a little bit. Lets me know that I'm doing a good job. Alright, I don't want to do anything too crazy, because I really want this to stay nice and shiny. Okay. Okay. Now, so Bender's eyes are white, but since it's so shiny, I don't think that will be very good. So we're going to do a type of red. It's going to be Angron Red Clear. So this is typically a air. It's not a contrast. But should provide the light faint that I actually want. I'm just going to lightly tap it and pretty much just dab on the lens. That way I don't overload the brush. There we go. Perfect. All right, so his head is pretty much good to go. All right, now what we need to do is we need to give him his oops, I actually forgot to do the gold trim on his sheath of his sword. Okay. Good thing we caught that. Okay. And this little section right here. Okay. Slowly just building up those layers. Alright, so I forgot to do the underside of this trim, so while that kind of dries, we can get this spot. So while I know it's not going to be normally seen, Still, good practice, right? Okay. I nicked a little bit of gold on the tip of the edge. I will cover that up really quick. Just a little boop, boop. There we go. Fixed. Okay, so next it's time for the leather. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to do I actually want to do a lighter color and then use a contrast. Where did I put it? So is it over here? Negative. I am trying to find my Steel Legion. Is this it? No, I guess we can use Baneblade Brown. Okay, so being very, very careful. Okay. Slowly but surely. It's always these last little bits. Like, I always mess up on the leather. It is so, like, trim work, that's fine. I can work on an edge. When it's trying to not overflow on a band, that is a different story. Okay. Slowly, leather is starting to show. And this will look a lot better once we have the contrast that will darken it up. Because I was thinking about using a lighter color or even Wraithbone, or for that matter. Because for me, I just absolutely love contrasts. Next, for this back pouch, okay. I know I feel like I know I look like I'm going super slow, but I really do not want to mess up that red. Okay. Okay, so get So now that a lot of this has been covered with Baneblade Brown, we can add our contrast. Once this section is done, that's what we'll be able to do. Okay. And after this top section, let's hunt for our brown. So I want to use the Gorgon fur. Ah, there it is. Okay, that's what we're going to be going over with our leather. It will give it a really nice deep dark. But while we wait for that, we are actually going to be working on the gloves. So since we're basically going black to white, we need a pretty opaque base color. So we will be using gray sear. Let me just shake that up really good. Okay. Okay. Alright, time for the fingers. we are slowly working our way from black to white. Right, on to the next glove. Okay. Alright, now that we got a first coat down, I'm gonna go with a second coat, but it's pretty watered down. So it's really just to kind of smooth everything out. So I know some of those recesses are still pretty dark. All right, so we are now going to add our washes. So let's start off with the gold. So we're going to be using Seraphim Sepia or Seraphim Sepia. Just going to kind of go over the major gold areas. And we're going to be kind of like pulling our, like it's going to want to pull down, and we kind of want to move it to where the shadows are going to be. So I'm going to start up here, making sure that it's covered, but then I'm going to make sure that the excess ends up down below. Here we are. Okay. Now, let's do this leather. So this is Gore Grunta fur. I have to add a little bit more to this. Okay. Then for the white, we're going to be using apothecary white. And for the gloves, so where did I place that? Problem is that when you have 300 pots of pots of colors, it's hard to find the one that you need. Yeah, where did it go? So normally always kind of where did it go? It's not it. I cannot find that color. Where is that contrast? Normally it just pops right out. That's greasy. Okay, well, I can't find it, so I think we'll just have to put a pin on those gloves. Oh, I forgot to do that for the Bane blades. So what I think I'm going to do is, I think we are past the 2-hour mark and he's pretty much done. So we are actually going to glue his head together. So let me grab my little pliers. And clean that off. Yeah, there you go. Okay. There we go. I don't know about you, but I think that looks like Commissar Bending Rodriquez. So what we're going to probably do next is we're going to do the power sword, and I'm going to do a blue glow plasma, but I'm going to use that with the airbrush. And other than that, just like kind of do a little bit of highlights with gold on the trims, and he's pretty much done. I think he looks absolutely fantastic. It was so fun. This was definitely a fun model to do, fun idea to do. But I hope you like it. I know I certainly did. And if you make sure to like and subscribe so you can stay tuned. So we're definitely going to be doing the Bane blade next. So that's going to be fun. And I have it all magnetized. So we're doing it all. So without further ado, I'm Ekav, and I'll see you later.